Today we're going to go over some basic turkey hunting strategy. And your strategy is going to change throughout the year, so it's important to know the different phases of the turkey season. Now most turkey seasons are going to happen between March and May, June, around there, depending on where you live. And that early part of the season, like the first 10 days to 2 weeks, something around in there, depending on how your turkey season falls, is going to be a really great time to use your calls, get aggressive. That's when toms are really excited, they're really fired up, they're searching for hens. And then as that middle part of the season, those hens become more vocal, they're going to be aggressive, pursuing those toms. And that can be a more difficult time to call in a tom, but it's a great time to listen to those hens talk, mimic what they're doing, and try and bring them in. And if you can bring the hens to you, you can bring the toms to you. The later part of the season, you want to be more tentative with your calling. Those turkeys have been pressured a lot, they've been called to a lot, so doing very light calling, purrs, scratching the leaves, that type of stuff, and just using your patience as well as your scouting to kill turkeys is going to be your best bet in that later part of the year. Now we're going to go over basic game plan for that first part of the season, your opening day type strategy. And one important thing to note is when we're calling to turkeys, we're mimicking the sounds of a hen to entice a tom to come to us. But that's actually the opposite of what naturally happens. In the wild, toms gobble to hens and the hens come to them. And we're trying to play hard to get and really get a tom to come to us, which is the opposite of what he's used to doing. So how we do that is, first we need to locate a tom. And in the spring, they have a lot of pent-up energy, a lot of aggression, and they're ready to gobble at just about any loud sound. So usually the night before I go hunting, in the evening, I'll try and locate some turkeys that are up in the trees on the roost for the night. So in the evening, I'll go up to a bluff near an area where I've seen some turkey sign in that area, and I'll use a crow call, and I'll just make a few loud bursts with the crow call. Just like that. I'll listen for a gobble. If I don't hear anything, I'll move 100 yards and try again. Just like that until I get a response. Once I figure out where those turkeys are roosted, I'll mark that spot on my GPS and I'll come back to that spot the next morning. So I'll set up in the 100 to 200 yard range from where I heard that turkey, and I want to try and get as close as possible without getting busted. So if you can get closer, great. If you're feeling really sneaky, if you're not, you can play it safe and set up a little bit farther away. Now I'm just going to wait and listen for them to fly down. You'll hear them cackle and you'll hear their wings flapping as they fly down. And now what I want to do is I want to get that tom really excited. I want him to think, oh, there's a hen over there who is really into me, and get him really fired up. And how I'll start my calling sequence or volume rather, is think of it as like a bell. So I'm going to start with a lower volume and increase my volume until I get a response. And as soon as I get a response, being a gobble, so once I hear that gobble, I'll taper back down and get quieter and quieter. Basically what I'm trying to do is make it seem like this hen that's really interested in this tom is walking away, which drives him crazy. And really try not to call too often. Every time he gobbles, you don't have to respond. So, all right, so he's flown down. I'm gonna make my first hen call. And the call I'm using today, this is called a pot call. Basically, there's two parts to this. You have a pot and you have a striker. And this surface here is slate. It also comes in glass and aluminum. I like slate. It's what I've always used. And one thing to note is you have these holes here. This is where the sound is going to be coming out from. So you want to hold it like this. You can also hold it in a C shape like that. You just don't want to plug those holes. And then you also don't want to touch the surface of this call or of your striker. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some clucks followed by some yelps. So to make those, it's just what I'll do is I'll take my striker and I'm going to make some quick line movements like this, and in an erratic pattern, and then I'll transition over into just making some small circles, and it'll sound something like this. Now, if I don't get a response after about 5 minutes or so, I'm going to try them again, but louder, more aggressive. And one thing to note is you don't have to be an expert turkey caller to call in turkeys, especially during this early part of the season. And there's a lot of great YouTube tutorials on how to use the various turkey calls. I like pod calls. They're easy to use. They're great for beginners as well as experts. You can make all the turkey sounds you need right on this one call. So he's gobbled to me now. I've gotten a response. And now I'm just going to be very quiet, and I'm going to let him gobble a few more times and just listen and see if he's getting closer. So if he gobbles, he's in the same spot, he's like, why isn't she coming to me? And then I'm just going to stay quiet and listen, and then usually you'll hear one where it sounds much closer. That's how you know you got him. If it sounds farther, you didn't pinpoint your location right, and then you want to come back to him with that cluck and yelp. And so he's coming in now. Great. So when I hear that closer gobble, I'm just going to go real quiet again, just and starting to create that illusion of a hen walking away from him. Okay, so now we have him, he's coming in, he's getting closer. We're going to go quiet for a little while. Okay? We're not going to call more than we need to. Again, we don't want him to think that hen is coming to him. And as for those last few yards, a really great tool to have is a turkey decoy. In the early part of the season, a tom decoy works really well because they're eager to fight. If they see another male turkey, it's going to make them really angry. They're going to rush in to fight that turkey. Having a turkey decoy out is great. Just make sure it's legal where you're using it, and you want to make sure you're using it lawfully and safely. So I like to set them up kind of offset to my position. And so now your job is really just to prepare for the shot. You know how far your decoys are, or you've ranged some other landmarks around you. This is when a mouth call comes in handy. You don't need any hands to use a mouth call versus this, which requires 2 hands. So at this point, I'm going to pop my mouth call in. I'll have my bow in my hand. And getting ready for the shot. And then as he's coming in, he's probably going to be puffed up. So what I want to do is have him not be puffed up when I'm shooting at him, just so I can pick a good spot a little bit easier. When they're all puffed up, it's hard to see their like body structure. I'm going to pick my spot where I want to shoot him based on how he's positioned, make my shot, and then after I make my shot, don't take your eyes off that turkey. A lot of people like to run out and try to get them right away because they can fly away with your arrow, and then it makes finding them really difficult. So you shoot, it'll flop, go out, get your turkey, take some pictures, and hey, you've done it. There's a ton of great turkey recipes out there once you have. And even if you don't make it to this point where you've made a good shot on a turkey, it doesn't matter. Just hearing a tom respond to your calls is so much fun. It's extremely addicting. I promise the first time you make a yelp and that tom gobbles back to you, you're gonna be hooked.